Hello friends, myself Mr. Sunil Devkar, Assistant Professor in the Department of English of Rao Bahadur Narendra Boroke College, Srirampur. Today I am going to deal with famous poem of William Blake, London, which is prescribed for SYBA, English Special Paper 2. Appreciating poetry. So as you know, there are 6 poems for our prescribed syllabus in the third semester, and among them London is one of the poem. So the title itself, London, every one of us know it is the capital of England. It is the metropolitan city. At the other side, William Blake, he is a romantic poet. He is a pre-romantic poet. And when we say all the romantic poets, the major themes of these poets, nature was at the center. It was revolt against these classicals, or it was revolt against the industrialization. So William Blake is well known for his 2 collections, Song of Innocence and Song of Experience. Song of Innocence is a natural romantic life, innocent childhood age, and at the same time, so which is full of, you can say, which is full of dreams and aims and ambitions. So that life we may call it as Song of Innocence. So such kinds of poems, they were included in his collection of poems, Song of Innocence. So we know the famous poem that the lamb and the tiger. The lamb, it symbolizes innocence. It symbolizes innocence. It is innocent. So it is innocent, and that innocence is clearly reflected from that animal, small lamb itself. At the other side, when we speak about Song of Experience, so Song of Experience, that means it is the real life. It is the real life. So in reality, whatever you feel, that means it is totally different. It is totally different. It is full of misery and pain. The reality is full of misery and pain. Even though it might look beautiful, but it is dangerous. So the symbol of the image of the animal tiger itself. To look at the tiger is a beautiful animal, but the other side, it is a dangerous animal. It is a dangerous animal. So these 2, you can say, his 2 collections, they give us the 2 sides of life of human, or you can say the 2 human nature, 2 sides of human nature, or the 2 sides of human life, you can say. So his approach to religion, we may say approach to religion, nature and God, it is clearly reflected. That means nature, how it is reflected or treated in Song of Innocence, and at the other side in the Song of Experience. So the examples or the images which he has taken, they correlate to his 2 volumes. Even he can, how that religion, he has attacked on the religious, the church, the way in which the practices they are going on, you can say. He has given the chimney sweeper. So his poem also, the chimney sweeper, and here in this poem also, he has given that example of those chimney sweepers. So here we can understand how he has attacked the political and the monarchy of the 18th century. So what is the significance of God? So what is the significance of God? The next is literary works, other literary works, his famous poems, the Song of Laws, America, Jerusalem, and Milton. So these are his famous poems. So he was an engraver. So from his childhood, so that means he was interested in painting, drawing, and engraver. So whatever the poems, naturally, the pictures or the images they are clearly reflected through his poems. And he as an artist, he as an engraver, it is the reflection of his poems. So he was among the pre-romantic poets. So among these pre-romantic poets, we may call them as William Wordsworth and Coleridge also. So he revolted against the slavery and gender inequality. So that means slavery of against whom? So that means the gap between the rich and the poor, the oppression of the child labor. So against all this, the way in which the gender discrimination it was made between male and female. So how the rich people, they exploited the ordinary people, it was reflected through his writing. The mysticism, he can say, he has presented in a beautiful manner. So if you see his statement, that means this phrase, pity would be no more if we did not make somebody poor. So when we says make, this word, it is important. Pity would be no more. When he says pity, what is pity? Pity, we show pity on the poor people. We show pity and we donate people. We give charity. The rich people, they give charity. So pity would be no more. So he is against of showing pity also. So he objects that instead of showing pity, what is important? Likewise, so we did not make somebody poor. Don't make people poor. At least they should be able to live their own lives. They should be able to fulfill their own means of living. If they can fulfill their own means of living, they can be happy. They can be happy. And so pity would be no more if we did not make somebody poor. So it has been clearly reflected through his writings, and he has attacked on this political powers or this monarch or the church system which has been followed. So he was against all these evil practices. And so he thought that means everyone should live a peaceful life. So we should cater for the poor people. So what are these metropolitan cities? How do they look? Outwardly, how do they look? But inwardly, how much polluted they are. So the life which the other people, the common people who are building these metropolitan cities, what is their status? These common workers, they work day and night. They work, you can say, 14 to 18 hours. But what is their status? Who cares? No one cares. So the walls, they have been constructed, the palaces, they have been constructed. But at the other side, the reality is grim. The reality is grim, which he has focused. So in the title of the poem London, it is significant. It is, that means as it is the capital of England, I would say it is the financial capital of Europe, where all, that means the industrial revolution, it first came. So the poem is written in iambic tetrameter form. The rhyming scheme, there are totally 4 stanzas. AB is the rhyming scheme of the poem. The theme of the poem is loss of innocence. What is it about? Loss of innocence. That means here we may say it is just like song of experience. So loss of innocence. It is the opposite side. Just when we say village, rural and urban. So this is the urban side. Yes, outwardly, how it looks, you can say, it is loss of innocence. Corruption of institutions. All these institutions, political institutions, church, and all these, you can say, these institutions, how much corrupted they are, it is reflected. So the government restriction of free thought. Yes, there is, you can say, we show respect, but are we really free? So that expression of thought is lost. The labor, he cannot object against the owner. He, that means the child laborers or the elders with the working class, they are none another but they are living the life of a slave. Yes, they are human beings, but there is clear cut a gap between the rich and the poor, the industrialist and the workers. So that totally the discrimination, it is clearly the people, they are segregated according to the class. So the money money corrupts. So power corrupts people. That means power corrupts. So here also the money, it corrupts what? The situation. So people, the materialistic pleasures, people, they are running behind materialistic pleasures, and this is clearly reflected through this poem. So yes, that means yes, in this poem he has given three examples, three characters they have been mentioned. Likewise, they are the chimney sweepers, soldiers, and the prostitutes. Likewise in second, third, and fourth stanza. In the first stanza, he describes the London city. So how he can say it is totally chartered? How the London city, it is totally chartered with rules and regulations. In the second, third, and fourth stanza, he gives the reference of the chimney sweepers, soldiers, and the prostitutes. So we'll come across, he can say, we'll come across the poem. And finally, he can say the sound poetical devices which he has used in the poem. So now I will turn to the poem. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weaknesses, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, in the mind-forged manacles I hear how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church falls, and the hapless soldier siege runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blast the newborn infant's tear and bleeds with plagues the marriage years. So just see, I've just read the poem, now I'll turn stanza by stanza. So the first stanza, I wander through each chartered street. So the poet, he gives the reference of London. So how is the framework of the city? I wandered through each chartered street. Chartered here in a sense, chartered means likewise the city which is full of rules and regulations. Which is full of rules and regulations from all sides. So it refers to the lack of freedom. Chartered, it refers to the lack of freedom. So do you really have the freedom? Here the order is of the tyrant. Here the order is of the rulers. The rulers, they are ruling. And so even the poor people, they cannot walk through the streets. They cannot enter the malls. They cannot enter the big shops. So the areas, they are restricted. And this city, even though it is, that means it is a city, but there are full rules and regulations which everyone has to abide. In one sense, it is the separation of the poor people. The poor people, they are not allowed to enter, I would say, in this, that means in the streets where the rich people, they are living, in the malls, in the big shops. And so the restriction which has been restricted, chartered here in a sense, it is the restriction against, at one side, we may say charter as laws and rules, but at the other side, it is the restriction which has been imposed on the poor people. So he says, near where the chartered Thames flows. Chartered Thames. So he also called the river Thames. The river Thames which flows between the city of London, it is also monitored. It is also chartered by these rich people. The flow is also governed by these rich people. And the river, it also cannot flow as per its will. So the direction or the flow, it has been governed by this monarch or by this authority people, you can say. And mark in every face I meet. Mark me here in a sense, it is a fear. Fear in the eyes. Fear in the eyes of whom? Fear in the eyes of all the people. Fear in the eyes of all the people. They cannot express themselves, their views and opinions. against these high class people or against this aristocratic people, you can say. So marks of weaknesses, what are these? The people, that means the fear, it is mark of weaknesses, it is mark of poverty, it is mark of slavery in the eyes of the people, which we could clearly you can say, which we could clearly recognize on the faces of these people. It is mark of woe. So that means there is no promise for these people. So even though, that means they are helpless, they are helpless. So in the very first 4 lines, the poet, he gives us the picture of London city. How is the picture? The streets, the people, that means the rapid industrialization, the growth of rapid industrialization. The people, they have to work for 14 to 18 hours. They are helpless, they are weak, they could not express their views and opinions, and their helplessness is clearly reflected in the first 4 lines of the poem. Further he adds, in every cry of every man, in every cry of every man, cry, see the sound, we can say, we could clearly see the sounds. So the sounds, in a sense, which the poetic device, which he has focused here, it is a sound image. So likewise the sound of what? The cry of whom? The cry of every man, the repetition of the word every. So the repetition of the word every and cry, we could clearly see, in every cry of every man, man, M is capital, every man here in a sense, is he really free? Are you really the representative of this natural world? No, you are encaged. You cannot express freely. Your views, they are totally encaged. You are a slave. So the cry, even though yes, you can make money, but you cannot live a life. So the rich, they can make money. The poor, he will have to work as a slave. He cannot express his view, or his voice is suppressed, you can say. In every infant's cry of fear, infants, even the child is also fearful. He also cannot express himself, or he cannot live a natural life. He cannot live a natural life. In every voice, in every band, in every voice, everyone is banned. So they are muffled. Their voice is muffled. They cannot speak. So they cannot speak. The mind forged, you can say, manacles are heard. So manacles, you can say the handcuffs. They are handcuffed. Everyone is imposed. Everyone, he is restricted, you can say. Mind forged. Mind forged. Mind forged means what? Restricted. They are restricted. They cannot speak. They cannot express. So they cannot express that mind forged restrictions. Manacles iron. Manacles, you can say the handcuffs. So clearly their hands, they are, you can say they are handcuffed. You can say they are handcuffed. They could not express themselves. हात बेड्या, you can say. त्यांच्या हातात काय आलेले? हात बेड्या घातलेल्या तशा. They are restricted. They could not speak anything. The voice and the hands, their actions and words, everything is banned. So everything is banned. That means they could not speak against the authority. They have become slaves. And further he added, in the next stanza, he gives the 3 examples. So which are the 3 examples which have been given here? So how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church apples. How chimney sweepers, chimney, it is the cry of whom? Again the sound. So just see the poet, we could clearly see the chimney sweepers. Chimney sweepers means, who are the chimney sweepers? The child labor. They are cleaning the chimney. They are cleaning the chimney sweepers. They are cleaning the chimney of what? The church. They are climbing up, they are cleaning, and when they are cleaning totally, that means the color, in a sense, it has turned black. It has, that means their color has turned black. Their souls, they have also turned black. That means they are totally encased. They could not speak anything. So at one side, they have become slaves. But at the other side, the walls of the churches, the rulers, the monarchs, the religious practices. So the church, you can say the chimney sweeper, he is working, but really, is he given justice? Is he given justice? He is totally living the life of a slave. He is living a life of a slave. He is cleaning the chimney. His color has turned black. His color has turned black, and these people, naturally, they are treating him as a slave. That means every blackening church affolds. APPALLS. Affolds means what? To make, that means darken. Darken, or you can say the church, they have become, you can say the child labor. Here they have become dark. You can say it horrifies. Pal means dark. You can say it horrifies the scenario. It horrifies the scenario. The child, he cleans the chimney, and he himself totally, his face, his eyes, his soul, everything, the color is what? The color, it has become black. And you can say it is totally, that means he will not express, he will live a life of a slave. So that it has been told. And then next, and the hapless soldier, hapless, here hapless, these are the helpless soldiers seized. Helpless soldiers seized. So these helpless soldiers, as per the orders, they fight for the nation. They fight for the nation. There they shed blood. The color of blood is what? The color of blood is red. The color of blood is red. But they are shedding the their blood there. And at the same time, they are facing the danger. They are facing the danger. They are sacrificing their lives. For whose sake? For erecting the palace of this monarch. The monarchs, they are living a happy life. They are living a luxurious life. Who is sacrificing their lives and shedding their bloods on the battlefield? They are the common soldiers. They are the common soldiers. Who bothers? No one bothers. No one bothers for the common man. He might be a soldier, he might be a chimney worker. They will work. These people who are living in the palaces, they will not come out. They will not lead from the front. But these ordinary soldiers, they will sacrifice their lives. They will shed their bloods, and no one will bother. And no one will bother. It is clearly, we could see. And if you see all these 4 lines of third stanza, so there is clearly, that means the H, first line, it starts with word H, second line E, third line A, and last line of third stanza here. So we could clearly see the sound symmetry, which the repetition of this sound H-E-A-R, here. Can you hear? The poet want to say, why he repeats? That means even that, yes, the poem is written in iambic tetrameter, but see other poetic devices which he has imposed. So the third stanza, the first word of all these 4 lines, H-E-A-R. So it is he creates a sound, and the sound is what? The sound is of poverty. The sound is of what? This that means the misery of the common people, the misery of the chimney sweepers, the misery of the soldiers. Sound is of the battle. That means they fight. The sound is of cleaning the chimney of the church. So he has clearly, he can say, the sound image, he has clearly continued from first to last of the poem. Now I turn to the last stanza of the poem. But most through midst streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse blast the newborn infant's tear. and bleeds with plague the marriage years. So here he can say, but through the midnight streets, that means in the midnight, we see the yellow light or the evening light, it is hypocritical light. So the yellow light, in a sense, it also signifies prostitution. In the yellow light, the prostitutes, they sit. The customers, they visit. So here in a sense, and most through midnight streets I hear. Whose sound does he hear? Again the sound, H-E-A-R, hear. So in the third stanza also I told you hear. And in the fourth stanza, hear, when she says, but most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots, these prostitutes, these prostitutes, naturally, it is the curse of whom? It is the curse of these harlots. Are you really taking care of these harlots? For their meeting their means of life, they are the prostitutes. The customers who visits them, naturally, he can say, now they are getting married to another woman. These prostitutes, they also have children of that customers or of those customers. So we could clearly see who is cursed. Here the curse is, we could clearly see the curse. Curse is of whom? The curse is of the prostitute. The curse is for the marriage system. So here you can say, likewise, how we say marriage is a sacred thing. So get married, we say, it is a holy thing, it is law of nature. But here what is marriage? These customers, they come to these prostitutes. Illegal children they are bearing. Who? These prostitutes. These prostitutes, they are bearing illegal children. And at the other side, we see these people, they get married. Even, that means already these prostitutes, they are infected. And after marriage, these customers, their women or their wives will also be infected. Even the kids or the children of whom, the children of prostitutes, they are also infected. So he calls the word itself, the last line is also very significant. So blast the newborn infant's tear. Blast the newborn infant's tears and blights with plague the marriage years. Blights means destroys. Destroys with plague, disease. Whom it will destroy? The curse, in a sense, it will fall on whom? It will fall on the prostitutes, their children, and even the new, you can say, the married men or the customers. There, that means it is a marriage hearse. Hearse is what? Hearse, you can say, we could clearly see a vehicle. Hearse means what? A vehicle which carries dead body. It is called as hearse. H-E-A-R-S-E. Here again, the word hearse. Hearse. Again the sound, it has been created. Hearse. So we could clearly see the sound. We can say the marriage hearse. So we have not heard. So see these two words which he has coined together. Marriage. Marriage is what we know. Marriage, it is a happy moment in the life. And hearse, in a sense, the dead bodies which are carried by that vehicle. So marriage hearse. So he says in the last line, plagues the marriage hearse. So the marriage itself is infected. The marriage itself is infected. It is cursed. It is cursed. And it is clearly reflected. So you want to say, so is it really holy? Nothing is sacred in the cities. So the cities outwardly, they look pure. Yes, is man really, you can say, what is really progress? Who has progress? Or whose progress it is? Whether it is the progress of, you can say, whether it is progress of high class people, or whether it is the progress of that nation, or whether it is the progress of the citizens of that nation. So everything is absurd. Nothing is, you can say, nothing is natural here. Everything is hypocritical. People, the way in which they are living life, everything in a sense, it leads to misery and suffering. Who is happy? Who is happy? No one is happy. So he says, that means, what kind of life? Is this the life? Is this the progress? Is this the booming of industrialization? Is this, you can say, likewise, that the whole world is a village? So can we say, that means where there is no humanity, where there is no peace, where there is no, that means we ourselves, human beings, who is enemy? We human beings are our own enemy. We are our own enemies. We have disturbed the natural setting of life. So this he has clearly focused through the theme of the poem, that is, it is the loss of innocence. It is loss of, why there is loss of innocence? Because everywhere there is corruption. It is the corruption of these institutions which has led to express our free thought, and that he has been successful in expressing this thought in a very clear manner.